somebody produces an instrumental, you have to, that instrumental has holes in it. And that's just like it's not actual holes, but it's just a terminology that we use when we're in the studio to when you get the right cadence, how you arrange your wording, the rhythm of your words. That's all cadence is, it's the rhythm. So all of these things matter. When we listen to, say, Justin Timberlake record, for example, when you listen to the melody he chose. I remember when I was in the studio with me and we recorded, we did Dance Tonight for Madonna. And when he wrote that melody for her, I asked him why did he choose that melody. What he does is he picks an instrument in the beat, and he'll write to that. So if you hear the hi-hat hitting a certain type of rhythm, you can write your wording to that rhythm, and you choose a melody, whatever melody comes to you. You got a lot of music to speak to. But you know, it's for me, when I produce my records, when I'm looking for a writer, which I'm looking for writers, I'm always looking for writers. But in order to write a great record with me, you have to understand melody. You have to be melodic. That's the biggest thing when you're talking about writing lyrics to a record. You know, when you listen to some of the records back in the 50s, when, you know, in the 60s on out, those records back then had great melody. Yes. You know, the melody has substance. The lyrics have substance. Versus today's music, they just sing about peanut butter. They got it. Yeah. You know, I have one of my favorite groups, the Doobie Brothers. I have all of their albums. And, you know, I grew to love Doobie Brothers. And I grew to love Mom and Gay, and all of those guys, Beast Boys, all of those guys back then. I have all of their albums, but my musical span is wide. I listen to Frank Sinatra all the way to Rihanna. You know what I mean? I listen to
because I can remember all ones.
Well, I worked with Madonna all over her album. I did the Hard Candy album. Me, Justin Timberlake, Missy, Carrie Wilson, Rihanna. I did the song I did for Rihanna went double platinum, so that sold 2 big records. I did a record with, of course, Fall Out Boy, one of the biggest rock groups. I worked with a whole bunch of so many different people. I forgot. But when we in the studio, like my favorite person to work with was Justin. He doesn't write on paper. He just sits there, he just go like this. Okay. Within like 30 minutes. And he wrote Cry Me a River. He just, in his head, he just sat there and just, he'll go like this. He'd go like he would talk to himself. Then he'd get up and prance around the room. And he's coming up with melodies, different melodies. Melodies, I'm telling you, melody is everything when writing lyrics. You have to be melodic. You have another one of my favorite artists that I feel that her melody is just so beautiful. It's India. You familiar with India? Sail Away. One of my favorite records. Yeah. And so when you hear that chorus, that melody, it just sticks with you. So if you can write a melody that just sticks with people, that's one of the fundamentals of the very essence of the hit record. Is melody. The lyric. It's just. I mean, that's pretty much. You have to have that great pen. We call it a pen. So if your pen is right, and you killing the game, writing. One of my favorite writers is Diane Warren. Anybody familiar with her?
Yes. Her.
If you listen to her records and her melodic choices, it's simply amazing. Another trick too, you can take an old record and take that melody and write your own words and put it to a modern beat. You can do that. It's called sampling. You can sample and interpolate different melodies, or you can take an excerpt and just take that part and incorporate it, into what you're doing. So there's so many different ways to write a record. And as far as production is concerned, that's a whole different ballgame. Because a hit record starts with a beat. If you don't have a good beat, people is not gonna move. You know, the music, and if you take an instrumental, you give it to the writer, it has to speak to that writer. So that when they hear that instrumental, it's like, it just comes to them. It's unexplainable. It's just a thing where if you don't naturally have it. I never felt like it was something that could be taught. But at the same time, I feel like it can. At the same time, in a small sense. But for those, when you talk about the Diane Warrens, the David Fosters, the Justin Timberlakes, the Carrie Hilsons, the Sean Garrett's, when you talk about all these great writers, it's just something about the way they write to where it's hard to find them. And you know, so many people say they can write, but then when they get the record, when you know, you get the record and you hear it, it's like, that ain't it. You know, they gotta be it. Yeah, they gotta be that. Oh, that's it. You know what I mean? It's unexplainable. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't understand how to make a record. You know, a lot of people think that you just get a beat and just write to it and you go record it, and we you gotta be able to write and produce a record that can appeal to millions of people. You know, you gotta be able to produce a record that can sell millions. You know what I mean? Make a hit record. You gotta also be able to make a record that if you go way to India, that they don't like it. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's why you have big world records. You talk about, what's his name? David Guetta. You familiar with him? Yes. David Guetta has these, you know, he's in the EDM and the techno.
Yeah.
His records, I mean, are so monumental. They appeal to